His entire conduct from election night 2020 forward has been about lying to the American people, trying to steal the election and now being charged criminally with that, and cheating the American people out of our democracy. That's what he's doing. So if he wants to talk about a liar, a thief, and a cheater, he is a liar, a thief, and a cheater.
And that is former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, traveling in Israel but making time to hammer Donald Trump. Christie is a 2024 presidential campaign rival, and for the past several years, he has been one of the former president's harshest critics. In Israel, Christie said that Trump's record of intolerance has fueled the surge of bigotry facing Jewish people and Muslims in the United States. Christie has also lambasted Trump's lack of intellectual curiosity about the Middle East. But the former governor's harshest attacks have been focused on Trump's ongoing legal challenges.
For everyone out there who's considering, voting in the Republican primaries coming up, I want you to remember something. He's going to trial the day before Super Tuesday for his actions in trying to block and overturn the 2020 election results. And now he's got Mark Meadows, his former chief of staff, who has signed an immunity deal with the government to testify that Donald Trump committed crimes right before him, that Donald Trump was lying from election night forward and knew he was lying. This is not some rogue left-wing prosecutor. This is not some product of the two-tiered system of justice that Donald Trump complains and moans like a child about. This is the guy who was one of the founders of the Freedom Caucus from North Carolina. This is the guy who was his chief of staff and who he called the next James Baker.
By all accounts, the testimony from Mark Meadows is a huge problem for Donald Trump. And there are other former Trump White House insiders and lawyers who have also turned and testified to a grand jury that Donald Trump committed crimes. Trump has complained that this is all a political-driven witch hunt, and at least for now, according to the polls, Trump's criminal cases are not hurting the GOP frontrunner in his race for the Republican presidential nomination or in a general election with President Biden. However, Chris Christie says that is going to change. Christie made a bold prediction about what's coming, and he pointed to his own experience as a federal prosecutor.
Let me tell you, as someone who ran the fifth largest prosecuting office in this country for 7 years and had a 130-0 record in political corruption cases, Donald Trump is going to be convicted this spring of these crimes. And we cannot, as a Republican Party, have a felon as our nominee. Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, Tim Scott, and Vivek Ramaswamy all raised their hand at the first debate and said they would support someone even if they were a convicted felon. I'm the only one left on the stage who did not, because I believe our standards have to be much higher for the person who sits in the Oval Office.
The standards have to be much higher, Christie said. Well, the governor's going to continue to have more opportunities to make that argument. The Christie campaign has reached the donor threshold to qualify for the next Republican debate in December. The total number of donors, according to the campaign, is more than 80,000. Also, the campaign says his support in multiple polls is above 6%, which is another threshold for the next debate. And after the last debate in Miami, a Washington Post survey showed a large jump in Chris Christie's favorability. The governor believes his message is resonating, and by most accounts, Christie has separated himself from the rest of the GOP field, at least in terms of the ferocity and consistency of his criticism of Donald Trump. Based on where the former New Jersey governor is focusing much of his campaign resources and time, Christie appears to be trying to build a firewall of sorts in the early primary state of New Hampshire. His theory is that a strong second-place finish there would catapult him into the position of being the top Trump alternative as the nomination race heads to South Carolina and the rest of the primary elections. Republican strategists are convinced that Trump's criminal cases are not going to matter very much if the rest of the GOP field is divided and has not coalesced around one non-Trump candidate. Chris Christie is certainly not holding anything back, and his constant trashing of Trump is getting noticed. By the way, one of Donald Trump's most colorful citizen supporters in 2020, the January 6th insurrectionist known as Jacob Chansley, is now running for Congress. That's right, the former QAnon Shaman is out of jail and wants to be a member of the House.
Don't you lose your credibility without the shirt?
Well, I don't think so. None whatsoever. In my personal opinion, I think that it's a symbol that I'm willing to bear all.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.